Okay, let's build an axle peg. This is one of those parts, quite honestly, that later on we may decide we're going to pick one up from the hardware store for our trains to print them. But it'd be cool to print it too. But it's going to look like this, and I'll start from scratch. I just built this one a minute ago and kind of struggled with it, quite honestly, but we'll see how it goes. So I'll just start a new part down here. Same routine as always. I'm you probably figured it out a little bit by now. I'm a rectangle guy, like rectangles to start things. So I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm thinking of a revolve so I get a full height. I will end up doing some half widths and stuff like that though. So this one happens to be a 1-inch bolt, 1-inch screw. And so this dimension is 1. It's 1 tall. And it's called a quarter, it's a 1/4 inch thick. It's called a quarter 20 UNC by 1. So this is not a quarter because I'm going to end up revolving it, but it is 0.25 divided by 2. I can be incredibly lazy when I want to be as far as not doing math, because inventor will. So that much is okay. Now I've got to locate some different parts. It's got a top on it that has an arc to it, but it also has a little ledge of a rectangle essentially. But I need a point. I got to locate this still, so I'm going to put a point in here. And this point, from the point to the very top, is 0.125. All right. And on that point, I'm going to throw a rectangle. Starts there. Comes out here a ways. It's not nearly that big, but that'll get us going. That rectangle is in dimension on this part of it, all the way around this screw. It's 0.422. So this would be half of that, 0.422 divided by 2. It'd be that big. Getting close. I've got this. I do have a flat part that is the same as the bottom main part of the screw, but up here there's an arc, and I'm just literally going to put an arc from, it's the arc tool there, from that corner to that corner. And I got to be careful. I don't want to put it on what we call a driven spot. I want to put it at a rather random spot. That's going to allow me to dimension in it. And this is the 0.236 is what it says it is in my drawing. Radius, if it had been a circle, it's not going to be allowed to be a complete circle, but had it been, it would have had a radius of 0.236. So I'll type that in, and that's actually what I'm after right there. Now, I'm about ready to revolve this thing, but I'm going to do some trimming and get rid of some dimensions to enable me to do that. So I'm going to be a little bit different and just right click and delete a whole bunch of these right off the bat so I can trim to my heart's content in a minute. Alright, I've gotten rid of those, so I'm going to trim things I don't need. I have no idea what that stray dude there is. Oh, that's actually the center of that circle had it gone around. I get it. Alright, so it's like this. I'm a little bit worried about that dimension right there, to tell you the truth. It's still right though. Looked odd. But not a bad thing to check these things occasionally. And so I'm going to delete it again. A little bit more trimming. I think that is ready to revolve. I don't see anything else on it. I'm going to finish my sketch. Bring it kind of a home point. Revolve it. Select the axis. It's always going to be this Y vertical axis. and then the profile is this, and it's revolved, and I'll look at it there, and it's pretty good, except for this thing has to get threaded. And it also has what we call a chamfer right down here. So we're going to work on this now as kind of a solid object, as opposed to a lot of the 2D objects we've worked on. Over here there's a chamfer setting, and this thing has a chamfer down here. The chamfer that the drawing has it as is 0.03, and this top one is a 45-degree chamfer, and I click on that and zoom it in a little bit there. You can see that it's chamfered now, and that's okay. Now I've got a nice clean chamfer on that end of it. Bring it back to maybe to a front to look at it a little bit. Alright, we're looking pretty good. I've got to do two things. I've got to do a thread on the side, and I have to put a hex head in the top. Threads, right up here, when you start off, this will say either hole or thread. Obviously I want a thread, but it's a drop down off of the hole icon up here on this ribbon up here. So I want a thread. This thread is a little bit tricky sometimes because this is an axle peg. We want the lower portion threaded, but we want a clean portion up here not threaded. That's what the wheel will turn on and have less friction. So we're going to unselect full length. We are going to, I put display and model there so we can see it a little bit, and you can see it's threaded. But we're going to offset that by 1/4 of an inch. So there's an offset of a 1/4 inch there, and this is where the wheel will, will be, and so this will be our race, and it'll work along there. Now over on this back side it says specification. Well, 1/4 20 UNC by 1 is a really common one, so it's right there. We could select another one. I can't remember specific, but that's something like 20 threads per inch or something like that. That's what that's all about, and we're going to have a normal right hand thread. So now we have threads on it. Oh, something went wrong. It threaded all the way up through, it looks like. So I got to go back, see what's up with that. It looks good here. I am not sure what happened. Alright, that's good again. So I'm kind of freaked out on it, but we're alright. So now we're getting pretty close, but we have to deal with the top. So up here, I need to drop in a hex head. So to do that, I'm going to choose to do a sketch on this right up here. And the sketch, if you look up underneath rectangle, there's actually a bunch of options, and one of them down here is a polygon. And we're going to do you can choose your number of sides of polygon right here, and it's a hex head, so that's what we're going with. So we got 6. We're going to come down here, center it on there, come out a little bit, and I'm not going to get all panicky about how far. It does a weird deal there, I have no idea, but then when I right click and say okay, it goes away, so I don't care. But this hex head is a 5/32 hex head, and that means from one side to the other side is 5/32 of an inch. So on my dimension, I select this side, and I come out, and I literally type in 5 divided by 32, and that's my hex head right there. And that's what I need to put in the top of this, so I click finish. It's sitting right there. I'm going to not technically extrude it, because that would be silly to have that thing sticking out of the top of there. But while this is going out, this one is cutting in. Likewise, I don't want it to cut clear through, make it hollow. This is actually, by the specs in there, it is 0.111 deep. That's how deep that is. Say OK, and got my hex head on there. There is my axle peg. Not too bad. It's an axle peg, and that's what we'll put through the wheel into the train body to make that work out for us if we choose to print it. Might be cool to print it. We'll have to see. All right, that does it for the axle peg.